Look at Ganondorf. You're facing the King of Evil in a horse duel. What's not to like about that?
The battle against Horseman Ganon from Twilight Princess is easily amazing. Ganondorf emerges on horseback, with Midna's fused shadows, having defeated her in battle. Then, it's your job to avenge her as the hero as Link. Then as Link, it's your job to avenge her by dueling him on horseback while he summons other troops from the ground in an effort to take you down. It's just utterly amazing and wonderful to watch.
One of the things that annoyed me about Phantom Hourglass was the bosses. They were boringly designed and not fun to fight at all, and considering how one of the main staples of the Zelda franchise is awesome bosses, I was honestly left disappointed. However, there were a couple that did leave me satisfied, and the first of these was Gleeok, two-headed dragon from the Temple of Ice. Now Gleeok's been in Zelda games before, heck he was in the first one, but this fight really takes the cake, and eats it, because he's a dragon. Both heads are colour-coded to what kind of ball they'll shoot out their mouth, red being fire and blue being ice. Now your job is to use the grappling hook, which I thought was a pretty cool item, and join up the 4 pegs, bouncing the attacks back and into the oppositely coloured head. After a few shots, the armour on the face will break and Gleeok will start sending one of his heads down to charge another attack. This part was easily the best bit of the fight, and certainly one of the greatest uses for a Zelda item ever, as the player must use the hook to grab hold of the poor Wazak's tongue and smash his head into a post, knocking him out. Once he's been slashed enough time, Gleeok will explode into sand and fill up your hourglass. The reason I love this fight so much is because of how the item is used. I'd not seen anything quite like it before, and it was great fun seeing it for the first time. Plus, smashing Gleeok's head into a post using his tongue and a grappling hook is just hilarious. Throughout Spirit Tracks, your job has been to put the Tower of Spirits back together, restore the Spirit Tracks, and get Zelda her body back. You've battled long and hard, fought various foes, and now it's time to take down the duo that started it all. Malladus and his pet leprechaun, Chancellor Cole. What was that? It is not a leprechaun? How am I supposed to know? He looks like one. The fight with Cole and Malladus takes place on top of the demon train in the Dark World, and to be honest, it's not really a fight. You have to guide Zelda up to Malladus, who has possessed her original body by this point, while keeping Cole and his glowing mice of doom off her back long enough for her to grab him, and then Link can shoot Malladus with a light arrow, ending the fight. While it's not exactly the most difficult fight in the game, or the best, it's still a lot of fun to play through. Plus, the music during this fight gets really awesome.
Fire from the Legend of Zelda Oracle of Ages. Hey, any Oracle players out there remember this guy? Or are you trying to forget? Fire is easily the most evasive boss, probably one of the only bosses who acknowledges exactly how Link is moving and attacking, then backs away off of the screen. Dark Link doesn't count. Dark Link's meant to be inhumane in that category. Even though he talks like an idiot, he'll circle the room cautiously and fire magic balls at you. At first he's easy to hit and will get agitated that you're hitting him, but right here this guy knocked him down to almost dead with his level 3 sword and can't hit him easily on his last blow because he gets so cautious. It's extremely hard to time and predict when he'll back off of your attacks, making him an infamous boss for it. It is true, it does have its share of complaints, but it is a very fulfilling boss. We're so used to bosses having a predictable behavior that it's actually the norm, and then to see this start annoying some players? Not bad. Who would have thought that Oracle games of all Zelda games would pull off a really interesting concept like this? Fire from the Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons. You see that? The spikes? Doesn't really matter to the Zelda player, but boy is it a miracle solution to break ties on 2 similar bosses for me. No, that's not the reason why this one's a little higher. For those who are curious or haven't played the Oracle games, Fire will appear twice on your adventure if you continue the adventure to the second Oracle game. Although I can't judge this because I don't know which Oracle game you'll play first or second, but Fire will flee and underestimate you the first time, then come back a second time in your continued Oracle adventure. The best part? He dies in your continued adventure. Here, since Oracle of Seasons was my second game, let's judge Fire here based on that continued adventure. Same tactics, don't really care about the spikes, but to come to a conclusion on a villain is a rare treat to see. After this, I didn't really care how annoying he was. I was just glad the Oracle games actually thought to bring this to a close. By the way, play the Oracle games by their vice versa order if you like. Their continued counterparts are quite different in a few respects. It's not a big deal, don't bother with it if you're looking for major changes, but the follow-up events from your first Oracle game does impact your continued game. The Oracle games, though not the most recognized titles, do have their say in the Zelda franchise and what makes them unique. Smasher from The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. Smasher, that sounds like a real menacing name. I can't wait to see what this boss is. No. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. You can't deny that this is a win-win situation. If you like animals getting hurt like in Pokemon, it won't disappoint. Smasher will try playing catch with you, and there's nothing more satisfying to bring out your monster within range to destroy this cute, fluffy thing as fast as possible. Because cute and fluffy things don't belong in Zelda games, and therefore must punish them. Or if you're a little kind-hearted and an animal lover, you'll melt at the knees and wonder why you can't have one of these as a pet on your adventure. Every comment section surrounding this boss is flooded with comments exclaiming how adorable this is. So that sounds fair in judging it. If you hate cute things, destroy this thing. And for those sentimental viewers, if only if, right? Either way, this boss will bring out an incredible amount of satisfaction in the player. Who would have ever thought that the light and dark side of the Force would work so well together for once? Smasher from The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Ages. More boss duplicates, yay! And double the cuteness. And double the hatred. What was that?
This time, you will not be fighting a worm, but 3 giant worms that come out of the ground from time to time to get you. While they are underground, these horrendous beasts are invincible, so the only way of hitting them is by using Link as bait to draw them out of the ground and attack them just as they are coming out of it. But beware, because you might get hit by doing so. Out of all the first 3 temples, this may not be the easiest boss battle, nor the hardest or iconic, but it sure as hell is a well-designed battle. It presents a unique idea that involves better thinking than most boss battles who are just about hitting and dodging. This time, you won't know where they come from, so not only you have to consider where to hit them and where to dodge to after delivering the blow, you also have to hope for it to go down to the place you want it to go. And once you defeat one, you still have 2 more to defeat.
So, you're playing Ocarina of Time, and you jump the bridge to the Gerudo Fortress. You sneak around trying to find the carpenters. You find the first one, and he calls you over, and guess what? It's a trap! Yep, this spot is the Gerudo Thief. You fight the Gerudo Thief 4 times, and every time it's a pretty good fight because of the fact that she's not a monster like you've always been fighting, and she's a skilled fighter, wielding dual swords. And trust me, you do not want to get hit, because if you do, you'll get locked up tight. But then you can just long shot out and try again.
Patra from The Legend of Zelda. Ah yes, the only mini-boss from the game, and what a way to make up for all of them. What makes Patra so dangerous in the last dungeon is that it hogs space, and I mean, you thought having roommates up at college was bad enough? Patra will be your apartment manager to the basement of the room from down under. And I thought having 18 roommates up at college was interesting. No, I seriously did have 18 roommates up at college, and I plan on going back there next semester. It seems easy enough to get close and attack Patra's minions as they spin around her, but she expands them and could corner you easily if you're not careful. Some find her easy, some find her hard, it depends. But deep down, In the last dungeon lurks a mini-boss not easily forgotten.
Okay, my turn again. I wonder what I got now. Oh no. Not Dead Hand! Dead Hand is a mini-boss seen a few times in Ocarina of Time. And man is it creepy looking. I mean, look at this thing! Creepiness aside, this boss is somewhat easy. You just lure it out by getting close to an infinite hand or placing a bomb on the shadow revealed by the lens of truth. Then, you wait for its head to come down and you hit it in the face! In the face! And that's about it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go get some coffee because I am not gonna sleep tonight.
Baron, the final form from the Legend of Zelda, Oracle of Ages. Well, as usual, when you beat a final boss, sometimes they get feisty and want to have a little friendly rematch. Wait, did I say friendly? I meant that they want to turn your intestines into bloody, gushy bits. What, that sounds graphic? Well, that's how they want it to end. Despite the rumor that this form of Baron is easy, she actually isn't. When I went back through the 16 games, she gave me some trouble, and I'll explain why. Baron takes on 3 forms, a turtle, a bumblebee, and a spider. The turtle's a little predictable, and its hitbox when she tries to slam on Link is rather impressive. The bee is the easiest, as she'll fly around like a figure 8, but the spider becomes its best point and worst point. The spider is Baron's most threatening form, mainly because you can only damage it with bombs. However, the downside to this fight is that the fight may drag on because you're working with her unpredictable movements in this form. Overall, excellent, very well done, but that spider... Everyone facepalm with me. Deity's Wrath from the Legend of Zelda Minish Cap. Okay, I have some explaining to do, because I'm approaching a nostalgicness that some players find pride in defending. Well, first off, if you've been as super observant, and I'll be impressed if you saw this, but I've revealed Beatty's first form, but not his second form yet. That'll come up, but for starters, this is the one that's sandwiched between them. This big finale battle. In my defense for several times leading up to this entry, I sincerely asked myself if it was better than the entries past this, and this didn't get demoted by judging points. It's because the bosses ahead of this one had more flair to offer in some ways. If you think I'm going to disrespect the general vote by making Minish Cap the center of the universe, you're in the wrong list, buddy. Beatty's Wrath has the entire package set for you to be that perfect boss battle. It's challenging, the music is awesome, the strategy, implementation, and presentation is truly wondrous to behold. It's basically a 10 out of 10 boss battle. You have to use your cane to sever Beatty's hand, then turn small, then infiltrate it and root out the baddie to kill, then come back out. You then duplicate yourself in avoiding the electric shots, you attack the 4 spots on his chest, and then repeat. For those who have calmed down and are still here, let me explain why it did go lower than the usual expectations. You fight this guy past the second form, and if the second form did better, then you fight this guy using the same watered down tactics. That's watered down potential soaked down through and torn apart for a Zelda boss. Do you see what I mean? Is that you can't really go from something so great and then come back down to something so stale. Diababa from the Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. I love this game. Oh wait, better not mention that on a generalized list, huh? Oh fine, jump to conclusions. I can't wait to talk about this because Diababa has its power to boast as a first boss. First off, the music. Not the quality of it, but how it changes throughout the battle, shifting between about 4 tunes. One for starting out, one for when Ook enters the battle, another one when Diababa emerges from the water, and the boss is down so strike up music. Holy crap. Next is the strategy, using the boomerang to propel bombs towards its mouth. At first you strip it off of the main boss into the planet's throats, forcing Diababa to show itself. Ook will show up and provide support with its own bombs when the boss evolves. Nice and easy concept to understand, especially for a first boss. The detail and effort that went into this is outstanding. I mean, Virus, take notes, buddy. You had so much to live up to. King Bulblin, the first encounter from the Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. Does anyone remember back to part 3? That was such a long time ago. Well, believe it or not, before those brain damaged days that lay ahead of him he gets from this battle, he was a competent enemy, and not only that, he gets an award. After playing through all 16 games and reflecting back on this, I consider this moment the most immersive horseback moment in the Zelda franchise. How everything about this is set up great. King Bulblin abducts one of your friends and it's time to frenzy after him. When working your way up to the bridge, you get a neat sword fight, then come to the bridge where you have to play chicken with him. The pieces behind this moment is really something that can't be matched from start to finish. Vaidi from The Legend of Zelda 4 Swords Adventures. No, not those memories. Not a rehash from the 4 Swords timeline. No. Wait, it isn't? Vaidi here is a lot more complex and fun here than meets the eye. It will do its usual whirlwind trick from the final boss from 4 Swords, but there's a catch here. Instead of letting the bomb simply head up to it, you have to time the bomb for it to explode on it before it throws it off. Thumbs up for a tricky strategy. What happens next in this boss battle is a rather unique fighting style. After Vaidi gets hit from the bombs, nothing else will reach it, so you're like, how am I going to hit it? If you fall through the center pit, there's a cannon that will launch Link up Donkey Kong barrel style way up in the air. From there, a Link can make its tribute downward strike from the air. You played Super Smash Bros., you know what downward strike I'm talking about. A tricky mechanic is the bombs, a satisfying strike from the air, and one heck of a comeback from 4 Swords. You can't argue with originality and actually thinking out strategies and satisfaction. Stone Argus from The Legend of Zelda 4 Swords Adventures. What is this, a rehash special? Redeeming itself from A Link to the Past, this boss is here to lay out its name in stone. Stone Argus is fantastic, not just because this is an amazing boss in all size, but because it's pure eye candy to watch it gather its stones and swirl them around to defend itself. There's something so cool about gathering with your friends and strip this boss of its power and slash it apart with your boomerang. Here's the problem, it's so simple, it's too simple to talk about. This is one of those concepts where it's so simple that you can't talk about it. It's all in the action. This boss will finish up with its trademark diagonal swerve when the beasts are gone, with a rather impressive daze move and jumping. And other than that, this footage should be enough to show this boss means business. Medusa Head from The Legend of Zelda Orade of Seasons. This guy is crazy, fast, and will make you panic. Please ignore what's happening here with Zeldapedia with throwing Pegasus seeds at this monster to stun it, because there is a 0% chance to figure this out on your own without help. Nobody thinks to throw Pegasus seeds throughout these entire Oracle games. With that aside, the footage explains that Medusa Head is crazy! It'll do a million things. Circle you to blow handfuls of lasers, goes to the far wall to laser the entire room, then it will appear in the center of the room and swarm the entire room with paralyzing beams within a second. Sure, you can use your jumping equipment like I did, but even so, this boss will make you cry. Did you hear me? Medusa Head will beat you against the wall and keep punching you mercilessly until you die. Did you hear me? Until you die. Until you die. Saiger from The Legend of Zelda Orade of Seasons. Wait, are you expecting me to talk? I'm just at the zoo observing this creature. Looking at this boss, can you think of the right words to really describe this boss? I would probably say that Saiger has the strangest movements from a boss I've ever seen in the Zelda series. Its tail is obviously its weak point, but after it strolls around for a few seconds it'll curl up into a ball, then ricochet in some interesting pattern around the room. It's a mini-boss, it could be easy, but doesn't it raise an eyebrow just trying to figure out how a tiger curls up into a ball and shoots around the room? It's really cool, but it's really weird too. How would I rate this experience for a boss? Pretty neat. It's interesting to watch and dodge its extreme movements. It's a decent concept, and definitely does rank up very high in the unique department. Morpha from The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. This is an incredible boss on so many levels. When you come into the room you wonder, where's the boss? Kinda pulling a Phantom Ganon on you again. When you step onto a platform it changes to the boss's view slowly coming out of the water, then Link looks behind him and says, "What is that?" This is Morpha, one of the most intriguing cool water bosses around. You're in this creature's turf now and it doesn't mess around. If you slip into the water or get too close to it, Morpha will grab you with the water and it means business. If it manages to catch you, it will turn into one of the biggest cutscene attacks in the Zelda franchise, then it will throw you across the room. How you attack it is with the long shot to pull out the core and then swipe it with your sword. If you stay in one spot, it'll start hopping around spontaneously out of the pool to mock the player in catching it. So you do have to move around a bit to lure Morpha out. Be careful though, because when you use the long shot, Link can't move, and if you miss, Link is in danger of getting pulled in by Morpha. For a first time player, definitely better than the anglerfish. Gosh, am I glad they didn't do an anglerfish rehash in this game. I'm glad Ocarina of Time stuck with the team originality for this game. Ganon from The Legend of Zelda Orade of Seasons and Ages. This is it! The final boss of both Oracle games. After 16 dungeons, after 16 bosses, after defeating the legendary Twin Rover, I can't wait to fight Ganon. Ooh, this is so exciting. Unfortunately, it plays out like a decent boss battle and probably deserves to be in those ranks, but it's not deemed final boss worthy though. The problem with this final boss is that there isn't anything that will surprise you haven't been through before. It's going to swipe you with that trident thing. Just back away. It shoots 3 big fireballs at regular times. Just move around them. He has an attack to spread them out. Do you see where I'm going with this? This is one of those bosses where he might surprise you the first time on an attack, like his ground pound and Kamehameha! Attack or control warp move, but that's just it. It's a normal boss, maybe above average, but we didn't deserve this after working so much for it.
You see, Stalfos are skilled. You face 16 of them throughout the game, sure, but each one is incredibly skilled, incredibly powerful, somewhat quick, and let's face it, who doesn't like the Stalfoses in the game? I sure do. And besides, they appear in one of the greatest Zelda games, much less one of the greatest video games ever made. That's gotta count for something, right?
Darknut from The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. It's perhaps one of the best one-on-one sword and shield duels in the Zelda series. Just listen to the sounds that go off when the swords hit off each other's shields. It's epic and complements the suitable mini-boss music. Add in the factor that pieces of the Darknut's armor fly off the more you hit him, and you've got yourself one satisfying boss to strike down. What keeps this guy from reaching the top tier ranks is the fact that it is a short fight, being a mini-boss and all. It also doesn't help that it's from one of the easier Zelda games. Still, the sounds are incredible and the battle is quite immersive and something to experience.
What's a good way to defeat the hero of time? Well, the Iron Knuckles figured they'd strap on some tough armor, grab an axe, and take Link on. The Iron Knuckles appear a few times in the Spirit Temple and Ganon's Tower, and with their awesome looking armor, they're ready to fight. To defeat them, you have to remove their main armor, then take them down. But as you chip away at the armor, he gets faster and faster. And trust me, you do not want to get hit by that axe. Don't worry though, because of all the armor, whoever's inside is completely oblivious when you enter the room. So you can make sure you're ready before you fight them. Oh, it's me again. What's it this time? Wait, what? The Iron Knuckle? Again? I already talked about him, right? Oh, it's from Majora's Mask. Okay, let's see. The only real things different about the Iron Knuckles in Majora's Mask is a small design change, its speed, and the fact that there's only 3. There's not much else to talk about besides that. Although their axe is still just as powerful.
Gleeok, the second encounter from The Legend of Zelda. I guess there isn't much to be said here than what hasn't already been said. This is following the same pattern as the first one, only except there are more of those heads, and thus more fairy-like monsters will pop up to really ruin your fun. Other than that, the challenge and difficulty really speaks for itself. Manhandla from The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons. Manhandla is back from the first game and it's here to dominate. Let's start simple. You own one of the coolest boomerangs in the Zelda franchise, one that can be remotely controlled as long as you hold down the boomerang button. Now Manhandla will move around in the interesting environment and continually open its 4 mouths to shoot lasers at you. This is interesting because Link can't move while controlling the boomerang, so you have to quick throw your boomerang to the open mouth you want, then get moving. It's harder than it sounds, especially when Manhandla loses its pedals and will speed up to compensate for the lack of firepower. This boss will take you a while since you have to ready your vantage points and adjust yourself as Manhandla moves. Here's the best part, there are no more Manhandlas after this, which means the king of rehashes called This Game set the bar on how rehashes should be made with this boss. Well, what about the other rehashes in this game? Shh! You're spoiling a good moment here. Gleeok from The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons. You guys, no, the ones making these videos, stop making the bosses look so easy! Gleeok has a lot of shock value. When you enter the room, you think it's a simple rehash from The Legend of Zelda, but, afraid not. It'll launch huge swarms of fireballs across the room in a rather hard to dodge formation, and occasionally it'll encase you in a wall of fire where you have to sit still or you'll take damage. Lastly, when the 2 heads are defeated, Gleeok will jump and stun you, then follow up with a charge attack. Gotcha gamer, you're ruining everything! Stop using Rock's cape, you're making this boss look bad. Stop! Well, you can't deny, Rock's cape is the biggest exploit meme to ever cover the Zelda franchise in avoiding damage.
Calais de Mos from The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker. Baranade's botanist relative is a very interesting creature due to its music, design, and method of defeating the boss by severing its vines from the ceiling with your trusty boomerang. You have to be quick and on the move, or else this creature's arms will try to whip at you if you sit still for even a few seconds. The ambient atmosphere is also an added plus to this battle, especially in the HD remake. It glows. Let's not forget to mention the boss's introduction when it tries to eat poor Makar. Then takes a very intimidating form, giving you a sense of heroism to try to save the little guy. And then when the core's exposed, you think it's an easy win, but nope! Overall, Kalidimos balances out great with its factors. It's unexpected, it's adventurous, it's everything a boss should be.
The Egos do Icona servants from the Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. For those who are not familiar with Majora's Mask, these servants, what? I'm not going to keep saying their full name. Anyways, there's 2 servants under the command of 1 more, and the first thing they'll do is seal up the room from sunlight. These guys are invincible. Just think of those guys from Pirates of the Caribbean from Kingdom Hearts 2. We just need to shed some light on the situation. Using your fire arrows while dodging the 2 guys, you have to burn up the curtains to let some light in. Just when you think your mirror shield will simply get you out of this one, you have to knock them down first because their shield will still keep them well guarded. After the 2 servants are disintegrated by the sunlight from your shield, the commander will jump in. What makes this battle special is the amount of strategy and innovation put into it, especially if you have a special mask at hand. It's a pretty funny cutscene actually.